So we're on. We're live streaming. Watch you walk up.
Cool.
You're looking sharper than I am. I feel like I'm getting a bit disheveled.
I don't know if that's the case, but
I went outside and got windburn.
It's a little windy out here, yeah?
So, we don't really know each other. We've played in a few. You always play in Sealy's Flex League.
Yes.
And I, for like the last 3 years, have had to do it remotely because I got married last year during it.
Congratulations.
I had a wedding thank you very much, the 2 years before.
Okay.
I had a wedding to go to. It's mainly I just don't want to talk to Sealy all that much in person. I talk to him enough on the phone.
Does anybody really like him?
No.
Yeah.
Jake does. Jake likes himself enough for everybody.
That's true.
So we have to even it out with the hate on this side.
That's right.
But I do want to get to some actual football, there's real football stuff going on.
Not just Jake Sealy talk?
Not just Jake Sealy talk.
I thought that's what they brought me on for.
This is the Jake Sealy cast. Everyone knows that. Jake will be back for football season, people, by the way. And maybe some baseball, too. Do you do baseball?
Very little.
And see, I used to do it's funny, I did football when I first started. I was like, I need something else to do. I'll do baseball. I'm big into baseball. Had to give it up like 3 years ago. It's a lot of work. Like, football's a lot of work. Day-to-day baseball was a lot of work.
Yeah, that's why I try to avoid it.
Too many guys.
Uh-huh.
So, Alex Smith goes to the Skins.
Mm-hmm. I heard.
Yeah. You checked your phone earlier?
Yeah.
That happened. Why did they sign him to $71 million exactly?
They could have probably done this with Kirk Cousins 2 years ago. Probably got the same money, younger player.
And it's not even like Alex Smith's contract was up. They could have had like a play. Listen, if he shows up on the last year of his deal and he's amazing, then give him $71 million.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. They gave away a very good defensive player in Fuller, who's a starter, going to be a starter for the Chiefs, and
a third-round pick.
And a third-round pick. So they really love Alex Smith. Apparently, we found the team. We found the guy.
They're the ones who. Yeah. Although they'll draft some rookie this year, and then people will be like, "Oh, he'll probably start over Alex Smith next year."
Right.
And then that will start. Oh, it's a vicious cycle when it comes to Alex Smith. Mm-hmm. But fantasy-wise, what does he do? I mean, I guess we expect Pryor to be back, but good luck on converting quarterbacks to receivers, apparently.
It sounds like he might be gone, actually.
So, really?
Yeah,
so he just getting rid of him?
There was some talk about maybe a reunion with Cleveland. I think you're looking at a receiving core that needs work, and Alex Smith's coming from a situation where obviously Travis Kelce is one of the best in the business at the position he plays. You could say Jordan Reed is as well when he plays. And Tyreek Hill is a difference maker. A lot of Alex Smith's deep ball numbers that you're going to see, hear about, what his depth of targets and all those things, those fun numbers that people like to throw out. I think a lot of that has to do with one of the best speed receivers in the NFL. They have a nice young player in Josh Doxson. They have a very good, slot receiver-ish, because Jamison Crowder plays inside, plays outside. But this is not a receiving core, I think, that's going to elevate Alex Smith, or Alex Smith will elevate. There still needs to be a lot of work there.
So let's think about this from a PPR perspective then. So if Jordan Reed, you can't count on him.
No.
So he's going to go late in drafts. Mm-hmm. So he'll be someone that I probably end up taking in like the 8th round, being like, hey, what if this is the year he stays healthy? And then I won't draft the tight end in the last round, and then by week 3 I'm streaming tight ends.
That's right.
I have C.J. Fedorowicz penciled in and be like, oh, please be the week you get 9 catches. But Jamison Crowder, there was all the hype coming in for him like this year, and he was awful for like 6 weeks. And then he kind of developed some consistency. It seems like with Alex Smith, he could be the biggest benefactor, at least in terms of a stable floor in PPR.
The same with Chris Thompson as well.
Yeah, if the knee is okay.
If the knee is okay. One thing I think with Crowder, I talked to Kirk Cousins. He was, we're actually, for logistical purposes, we're 2 booths down from each other. So Cousins, stopped by our desk at CBS Sports, and I asked him about Crowder, and he said that he dealt with a little bit of a nagging injury. Sometimes we don't always hear about these injuries. They show up on the injury report, but you never know. You never know the severity of it, and I wonder if that hamstring problem that he was dealing with really didn't allow him to get to the level that he possibly could get to. So yes, I agree with you that Jamison Crowder benefits in the catch department. Jordan Reed will benefit as a whole.
Just being healthy.
But with a quarterback who has a history, you go back to San Francisco, Alex Smith to Vernon Davis when those guys were there. That was a good connection as well. So I think there could be a little bit of a rapport for those guys. But you are still talking about a quarterback in Alex Smith that doesn't take chances, that had this season because he had a guy breathing down his neck that he thought, if I do play well, maybe I do get this type of deal or stay in Kansas City. And you wonder now if he's going to continue to play at this level. So I'll take a wait-and-see approach. He's not going to be a lot of my fantasy teams.
Did Kirk say where he's going by chance?
He didn't know. It's funny because I didn't see Alex Smith on Radio Row.
He was here at the same time.
He was doing some media appearances in Minnesota. And so you just wonder if this was a day earlier, or they had this all planned.
The fact they were both here at the same time had to have had it.
And then I'm sure you saw Adam Schefter tweeted out that Cousins was at
the Shake Shack.
Shake Shack right there in line. So I guess he's still hanging around.
Well, who doesn't like Shake Shack?
Of course.
Jets. Everyone keeps saying Jets. I don't see it. Why would anyone want to go to the Jets?
Money. New York. If you turn that team around, you're the king of New York. And that's something I think that's appealing to some people. Getting that contract I think is going to be the biggest thing. He's at the point now where, he said I want to be someplace where I can win. So
that's not the place to go.
So that's not the place to go. I think that to me, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm looking at Denver,
Arizona,
and Minnesota. Because those three teams need quarterbacks. They have at least some things in place. You can say Arizona's defense is still championship ready. Larry Fitzgerald is still there.
I feel like Arizona seems like Arizona might not be good in 3 years, but it seems like if you walked into it next year with David Johnson, let's say he's healthy coming back, they could be really good.
The same with Denver. I would agree. 3 years from now, that defense is starting to fall apart. You're hearing Aqib Talib being, potentially shipped out. And then Minnesota obviously is ready to win right now. So those three teams would be the ones I would look at. I would say Cleveland, goodbye. I would say New York Jets, goodbye.
Bills cross them off the list.
The Bills, I think, are probably the fourth team because
no, trust me, Bills fan, no one wants to go to Buffalo. No one.
Probably
I
true.
don't even want to go to Buffalo to see the games because then I'm in Buffalo.
But
sorry, Buffalo people.
At least you have a coach that looks like it. They have at least some things in place that could start to turn things around.
Well, it's a coach that benched the starting quarterback for Nate Peterman, and people on Tyrod are so split. Because, analytics people are like, Tyrod's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then there's other people who are, fans of the Bills who are like, Tyrod is the absolute worst quarterback in the league. I feel like he's kind of average. He's not a guy that's probably going to lead you and carry a team to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But I think if you have a good team around him, is Tyrod an upgrade over Blake Bortles in Jacksonville? I feel like he is.
He is, but you got to pay him.
But how much do you didn't we get into the situation last year where no one wanted to pay Tyrod?
Yes. If you get anybody cheap that – you've seen the model of what NFL teams that have success end up doing. Russell Wilson, before he gets paid, you were able to put a lot of potential, a lot of stars around him. Jacksonville's kind of in an interesting situation because you're going to have to pay Bortles $19 million to keep him next year, but you have all this young talent that's eventually going to have to get paid, and all those guys on the defense side of the ball. So what do you do for a one-year solution? Do you keep Bortles, draft a guy, and then maybe go the free agency route 2 years from now, which is probably what I would do? Or do you try and get somebody like Tyrod Taylor cheap and then you just say goodbye to Bortles? But Bortles has this tough situation now with his wrist where you have to make a call on him before free agency comes up.
Well, are we into a situation, too, where we're dealing with a lot of recency bias on Bortles? Now that we, watched him, in the playoffs, hey, he played pretty well. And now that we all think that Blake Bortles is all right, isn't Blake Bortles terrible? Couldn't you just draft someone?
They should draft someone, but I would just give Bortles the, because at least you say, okay, we committed to him for his, full rookie deal. We did give him the 1 year, kind of bonus year, after leading us to the AFC Championship game. But I agree with you. There is recency bias with Bortles. Think about who he was throwing the ball to. Allen Robinson was gone. Marquise Lee was coming off of the injury. Allen Hurns really was a mistake with the contract that they paid him.
And he was dealing with the ankle injury as well.
And you have a young guy in D.D. Westbrook, a young guy in Keelan Cole who's undrafted, free agent. So if they are able to, which I think from what I understand, they're going to bring back Allen Robinson, probably let Marquise Lee walk, and cut Allen Hurns.
Do you think a team out there could scoop in and take Allen Robinson, though? Because they're not going to franchise him. Just throw some money at him?
The one team I think that would make a lot of sense, fantasy and reality, would be the 49ers because they have all that money.
49ers and the Bears.
True. The Bears would be an interesting one, too, but, you know what they say about Chicago. That's where receivers go to die. If I can get myself to San Francisco as Allen Robinson, that'd be the place I would try and go, but I think he's going to come back to Jacksonville, and the other two guys that he's been playing with, Lee and Hurns, are gone, and then you have these young guys, but I think if Bortles has some talent around him and they ask him to kind of do the same things, he could be successful in helping that Jaguars team stay relevant for at least another year.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting situation because you're going to have to pay him so much for next year. And like I said, then he can come off the books. But what if he's good next year? Now you have to invest all this money in Blake. Not that I would bank on Bortles being really good, but what if he just regresses back into awful Bortles again? And maybe it's really hard to sustain a high-level defense year after year after year. So I remember this happened. I remember it with the Bills, one of the Rex Ryan years. I think it was the first year that he was there. The defense was awesome. The charts,
second in the
good.
NFL. Yep.
And then the next year, everyone was like, just be like, well, the Bills are going to be good. They have one of the best defenses. And it was like the 30th ranked defense next year. Not that I think that Jacksonville falls off the cliff, but if you go from being like the third best defense in the league to being the 9th best defense in the league, then everything you try to do kind of goes off the rails. You need to be so good on defense to protect what you do on offense, which is not the best, that even a mediocre quarterback could be better than bad Blake Bortles.
Yeah, and you also have a situation where, to further compound your point about them regressing, you didn't have Andrew Luck in the division, so he comes back.
No Deshaun Watson.
You didn't have Deshaun Watson for most of the season, or J.J. Watt, so that team gets better. and Marcus Mariota now as a new head coach and hopefully a better offensive system around him.
Hopefully.
That team could get
worse?
better. I don't know if it could be worse. Hopefully it gets better. So you have, things that are happening around them plus the first place schedule that's going to make things a little bit tougher for them.
All right, finally, just very quickly, you can give me a yes or a no. Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Better or worse with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback?
Better.
Better. I'm with you. It's going to be awesome. Maybe Albert Wilson can be draftable.
You're stretching it.
Maybe so. Anyway, Jamey, thanks for being on.
Yes, nice to finally meet you in person.
Yes, and I'll be side-eyeing you from down here. We're literally like 10 feet away.
We are.
All right, well, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.